Is up, everybody? Welcome on in. A to Z Sports, Philadelphia Eagles live, chopping it up. Big game coming up this weekend. Excited to jump into it, man. We'll talk a little bit about Zack Ertz. That's a hot topic right now. A couple other free agents, but first and foremost, we got my guy joining in. It has been a long time, man, like ages, centuries since we collaborated together. The OG Eagle content creator, my guy, Philly Mike, Philly Talk Podcast. Thank you for joining, man.
Always. It's always good to talk Eagles, whether it's with a guy on the street or A to Z Podcast, my own podcast. It's fun talking birds. Glad to be on.
Shout out to everybody in here, man. If you are on the YouTube stream, do us a favor, hit that like button. YouTube does not want to see us win right now. Facebook, share it around. Twitter. And of course, if you're on A to Z and you don't know who Philly Mike is, I mean, you must be sleeping or something, or I don't know what you're up to, but definitely subscribe to the Philly Talk Podcast as well. You know, I was thinking, man, the first live stream I ever did was with you. It was a long time ago. We had the beds in the background, the posters, all of it, man. I just wanted to say I'm proud of you, how far you've grown, man, and all the content. It's been huge. Been huge.
Yeah, you too. Covering Eagles, covering Sixers as you do, not on this channel, but long time coming. 3.5, 4 years in the making. But the Birds are playing some great football, so it makes it even more special when they're winning. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. And speaking of the Birds, hot topic every day of the week, especially today. Before we get into the Niners stuff, just talk about like how this season has gone from going to the Super Bowl, losing. Usually, at least we've seen in recent history, those teams, they go downhill. They start to fall off. Eagles, however, are 10-1. They bounce right back. It looks like they're ready to make another run for the number 1 seed and get that bye week, and maybe make a push all the way back to the big game. Hopefully, different outcome this time. But just kind of talk about, what you think about this season so far.
Yeah, I loved it. I love it so far because it's continuing. A lot of people expected a downfall nationally, talking about the multiple guys we lost, like 11 starters, 10 starters, both coordinators, a lot of things brewing this offseason. But at the end of the day, the core stayed intact, and the philosophies are still in place. And when you look at this team, man, they just got a lot of fight. To be 10-1 after starting 10-1 is almost unheard of, especially the team that lost the Super Bowl. You can say like the great Patriot teams in the past, the Chiefs team now, they win the Super Bowl and they're back good again, right? The teams that they normally beat, right? The Buccaneers, yeah, they fell off because Brady, left and blah, blah, blah. But, we've seen so many teams, including the Eagles in 17, either get there and win, who haven't been there in a while, or get there and lose and then fall off. It took us 5 years to get back there. And it's kudos to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. They're really the staple of what is presented on the field. And we got a lot of talent behind them, and everybody's just working. And I know the national media is still trying to play us because we haven't been blowing teams out. I heard Colin Cowherd today talk about like, well, if you don't have at least 6 to 7 blowouts, you're not going to go to the Super Bowl or some crazy thing. They're going to try to find a way to poke holes in it, but wins are wins, as our franchise quarterback will say. Keep the main thing the main thing. So I love it. As long it's been stressful, especially these last couple of weeks.
Oh,
but
yeah.
If you can after I'll take 3 hours of stress for a whole week of talking trash to your coworkers and other podcasters and Twitter about us getting a W.
Blood pressure's up, man. The blood pressure's up late in these games. I'm like, there's no way. Like, law of average. At some point, they got to lose one, right? But somehow they keep pulling it out. They keep winning. And speaking of Jalen Hurts, he just wins. He doesn't lose. How does he keep doing it? How does he continue to keep pushing through? He's lost like 3 out of his last 35 regular season games. That is unheard of, especially for a young quarterback. At this point, I'm ready to just say, until they lose, I'm not going to pick them to lose. I'm not going to pick them to lose until they lose a game.
Yep. And this is now the 3rd straight game that we're coming into this one as the better team record-wise, but the underdogs via the spread, right? I understood a little bit the Chiefs because they were home. We have the better record, but they beat us in the Super Bowl. They got Patrick Mahomes. But to be underdogs to the Bills in our city and the underdogs to the Niners in our city, is just ridiculous.
Nah, it's crazy. I wanted to get into that. We're foreshadowing a little bit, but +3, an underdog. The Eagles are 10-1. They're the hottest team in the league. They have shown you time in and time out that they're going to win games, that they're going to find ways to get it done. How do you come in your own building as an underdog? I just don't understand. I don't understand. And like you said, the national media is throwing out all these narratives. Oh, well, if Brock Purdy never got hurt in the NFC Championship, well, they would have won. And all off season, the whiners, I call them, the 40 whiners, they just never stopped complaining. They never gave any credit. They never said, oh, okay, well, maybe the fact that your defense shut us out and your offense put up 31 points. They never talk about that. They only talk about the fact that Purdy got hurt.
Yeah, hurt, play with 10 guys. Bradbury's trash. We were torched. We could have torched them. Our game plan was blah, blah, blah. A lot of talking, as Hassan Reddick said. And we're gonna lace them up. We're gonna strap them up this Sunday. Now, I will say the injuries update ain't looking that great, right? To lose Zack, to go into a game where they're going to run the ball, whether it's McCaffrey, whether it's Debo, they're going to play an extension to the run game with the screen game with Kittle and stuff. It's going to be a physical battle. You don't want to lose one of your better tacklers in Zach Cunningham, and it looks like he's not going to be able to play. Hopefully we can get Fletch in some capacity. We will get Milton Williams back, so that's good. But doing my due diligence and whatnot, like the Niners have the least amount of pass attempts in the NFL. So like, Brock Purdy this, Brock Purdy that. There's some bad quarterback play in the National Football League, but them other teams with bad quarterbacks, I'm talking the DeVitos of the world and Daniel Jones of the world, they are passing the ball at a larger rate. They're last in the NFL in pass attempts. So it's a rain game most likely. Can't count it in yet because the forecast got to be the forecast, but it's a rain game. They don't like to throw the ball. We're the best at stopping the run. Now, mind you, some injuries can change that, but I like the matchup. If it's going to be our toughness versus their toughness, the trenches, I like it minus the injuries. But if Brock Purdy's coming into this game with the last amount of pass attempts, not showing that much confidence, and I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's their best quarterback, right? The game could have been different, but not to the extent that they're saying. They're pretty much saying they would have whooped us if they had him. And it's like, how could you say that?
I think it's ridiculous, man. All season long, they jawed. And again, like you said, they're a very good team. I respect them. But all season long, they gloated about this insane defense they had and how it was better than Philadelphia's. Okay, well, Purdy gets injured. You still gave up 31 points. The Eagles ran right through you. Jalen didn't even play the best game. I think Sanders had 2 touchdowns. They still find a way to get it done. And I honestly think, like you said, it's going to come down to the trenches in this game and the toughness. I think the Eagles D-line against the Niners offensive line is going to be the matchup here. If they can break through, get to Purdy. I know he's going to try to get the ball off quick. I know they do all these crazy formations under Shanahan, and they'll have Debo in the backfield running around. They'll have McCaffrey and all this. But if you can get to Purdy and make him turn it over early in the game, I think you set the tone and you don't look back.
Yeah, and I will say again, we've been the best team and we are the best team in stopping the run. However, the one team that kind of ran on us were the Chiefs. And not only did they have a running back that they believed in Pacheco, like the Niners believe in McCaffrey, they used Kadarius Toney in the backfield. And Debo's a better version of Kadarius Toney running the ball and receiving the ball. So that style of run game where they might use Juszczyk, they might use McCaffrey, they might use Debo. Heck, Kittle might take a run. It does hurt the Eagles, but I think that's what you got to be game planning for. Like, listen, if you lose this game because Brock Purdy threw the ball over the place, you could live with it in the sense of, okay, yeah, you don't want to see that. We don't want to lose the game, first of all. But if you let them run for a $150, 200 yards on you when you knew they were going to do that, then you just lay down. And so I think that's still got to be the focal point. If Brock Purdy has 150, 175 passing yards at halftime, then adjust. But at the end of the day, I'm saying, Brock Purdy, you beat me. Shanahan's running game, Debo, McCaffrey, we're taking you away. You're going to have to beat me outside the numbers. And if he does, we'll adjust then.
No, I agree. And I think when you look at this game, another important thing is going to be the Eagles getting off the field on third down. Like, they have been absolutely brutal. The passing defense numbers wise isn't that good. I think they've been a little better than the numbers show, but on third down, it's been tough. And if you let
third and longs, I get nervous. If it's like 3rd and 15, I'm like, oh Lord.
It's like a staple of nerves for Eagle fans dating back years and years. They just can't get off the field, man. 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, late in games, that can't happen. And if you let the Niners extend these drives, it's just not going to bode well for your team. I don't know, man. I think the Eagles are the better team, and I'm not taking anything away from the Niners, but I feel like the miracle run is kind of boiled over at this point. I think Purdy's a good quarterback. I don't think he's what we saw, where he wasn't losing any games last year, going on that big run. I just think I think it's going to be a close game, but I think if the Eagles playmakers step up, and I think if Jalen doesn't turn the ball over, I got the Eagles winning this game. Maybe he goes on another late fourth quarter touchdown drive. It feels like every single game he's got the ball in his hands, needing to go 60, 70 yards, and he does it every single time. As bad as he looked earlier in the year when he was dealing with injury, etc., he's played really good football the last 4 or 5 weeks, and he keeps getting better. And he just seems motivated. He's stone cold. He doesn't even crack a smile. He's like, I'm ready to go all the way, get back to the big game, and I'm ready to punch it in every fourth quarter.
Yeah, he was asked about that. Why do you look so serious in the biggest and best moments of the game? He's like, trust me, I love it. I'm on to the next play. Keep the main thing. I watched the little YouTube short that the Eagles put out of BG pretty much saying, you don't know Jalen like we know Jalen, right? Yeah. BG's in his face screaming like, yeah, and he's like this. chilling. You know what I mean?
How about when Elliott nailed that field goal and you just see Jalen, he's just shaking his
facts. Now I will say this. I totally agree with everything you said. I think we're the better team. My one concern will be how much are the injuries going to play? I really am curious to see what the final injury report is on Friday. Get some news Saturday. What is Lane Johnson? Is he 85%, 90%? We're going to get all that information soon enough. But I also look at the way we played in the first half, whether it's turnovers or starting slow. Now, Brian Johnson has been getting a lot of criticism, and there's been things that I've seen, right? Like the non-stop quarterback draw. I ain't mad when we score though, right? Like I literally got live play-by-plays where I'm like, don't do it. And I'm like, never mind. But like I know it's coming. So you would think the defenses knows it is what it is. All that being said, when you compare to last year, right, and under Shane and blah, 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 like, yeah, you can say it looks prettier and this, that, and the third, but these last 2 games have been the biggest, like, look, I told you, now he's starting to show, because I thought he started to get better throughout the season. Brian Johnson calling plays into these last 2 first halves against the Chiefs and the Bills, but go back and look at DVOA and whatnot. The Bills and the Chiefs are a top 7, top 5 defense, and we got one more coming in here. But do you think that we'll be able to against a Niners team that is physical, right? Do you think we'll be able to overcome a slow start?
I'll tell you my honest opinion, and it's my main concern with Brian Johnson. Outside of the red zone early in the season, I don't know what he was drawing up, but I just feel like, and this is a common theme, he doesn't get the running backs involved. He doesn't get Swift involved. And, this last game, I was very, very confused. I put it on Twitter during the game. Okay, DeAndre Swift goes out the week before. He had 76 yards and a touchdown, and you reward him by giving him the least amount of carries. You had Boston Scott in there. You had Gainwell, Hurts running, keeping it himself. I think you got to get Swift going early. Obviously, it may not work, and then I feel like they're just going to get very pass happy, which, again, Jalen can win the game that way because he's so dynamic. But if they start off slow again, I think the Niners are going to take advantage. I think it's going to be a close game already, but you can't have one of those first halves where you only score, 7 points or 10 points. If they get up a couple scores, I don't know if they're going to, kind of crumble down like a Buffalo did and allow you to come back in, especially late in the game.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why Buffalo crumbled is because they still wanted to throw the ball 50-plus times. If they get that lead in that second half, they might throw the ball 3 times. You know what I mean? It'll be run after run after run. And so we definitely got to keep this one closer in the first half. Turnovers has been a big thing too, right? And like turnovers overall, like, Jalen, some of them are not his fault, but like, bad luck of turnovers. I think they got to stop against a defense like the Niners. What's your take on just the turnovers over these past couple games?
Yeah, I mean, Eagles can't turn the ball over. Simple as that. They have to win the turnover battle if they want to win this game. I think they're going to have to play clean football. I think they're also going to need a couple big time plays. And, I think Devontae's been heating up, getting in his rhythm. AJ's been heating up, but, you can't have these fumbles. You can't have an early fumble in this game that causes a short field and boom, you give up 7 right off the bat. Eagles are going to have to clean it up. I'm a little concerned about the tight end position, which we'll kind of get into here going forward. But the Niners have playmakers. Like the Bills are a good team. Chiefs are a very good team. They don't have the type of weapons, though, that the Niners have. And, I think turnovers are going to be huge in this game. Like if you turn the ball over, there's not much room for error in a game like this.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about, again, a team that can control the time of possession just like we can too.
McCaffrey's
similar, huh?
McCaffrey's a beast.
Yeah, he's legit. Like I said, he could do it all: passing, receiving game, running game, and they're going to utilize him a lot. Like I said, I'm curious to see that matchup, and I'm curious to see how our defense is looking without Zach Cunningham and the possibility of no Fletch the whole game, and how we respond to that.
What's the one guy you're looking for to step up in this game? Like if you had to target out one matchup, like maybe it's this player or this positional group against this guy, like what is the one matchup?
It's the linebackers now for sure. Just because of the amount of runs that we're going to see, I can see this game. Look, when Purdy throws the ball, like you said, it's going to be short and sweet. Little screens to the outside, little check downs to the tight end in the middle. I think they're going to utilize the middle of the field, the screen game, and the run game. And guess what? The middle of the field is normally played by the linebackers. Helping stop the screen game and the runs is the linebackers. And you got Christian Ellis, who came in for Cunningham and played good. He had that big time blitz sack or not blitz tackle for loss on a keys, second down against the Bills. But you got if I told you again, Morrow played great so far, and Christian Ellis hasn't let us down. But if I told you going into the biggest game of the season that it'd be Morrow and Christian Ellis starting, you'd probably be a little upset. You know what I mean? Now, Nakobe Dean has his struggles already, and Zach Cunningham is hurt. And I like Nicholas Morrow, but I don't know the combination of Morrow and Christian Ellis. And so right now, they got to step up. If we can get quality linebacker play, as much as we are scared of the outside sometimes with Brian Johnson's passing schemes and Bradbury and Slay and third and longs, right now I'm looking at the linebacker play. We can minimize that. I think we'll be all right because they want to run the ball. I expect 35 rush attempts. Combination of Debo, McCaffrey, and company. That's it.
Yeah. And they're also going to use McCaffrey out of the backfield as well. And I mean, it is a guy
Sure.
that can back up 100, 200 yards in a game. So you let him break off one of those runs, it's not going to be pretty. Tackling is going to be huge. I think the Eagles have done a pretty good job with it. What's your overall assessment on Desai? Like, it feels like he's definitely improved throughout the year, but there's also games where it feels like, okay, Brian Johnson's stock goes way up and then Desai kind of lets it, fall in front of him. And he doesn't put pressure on any receivers at the line. He kind of just lets them dictate the tempo of the game. So where are you at with Desai as well?
I like him just because I like the adjustments. Definitely there's been some lapse in coverage, some communication errors where you can be like, look, as much as I want to blame the players, like there's nobody. Why are you playing this coverage? Why are you doing this against this? And so he's definitely had his problems. But if you look at the secondary, out of all the adversity we went through, right, like health wise, the secondary has been beat up a lot. Like I think the last 2 games, their first 2 games in a while that we had consecutive members in the secondary play together, including bringing in Kevin Byard. So I think he did a good job with just maintaining what he had. That's why he got the passes early. Sometimes it's just the flow of the game as well. When you stop the run the way we do, you're going to get more pass attempts, right? Maybe you have more in the box, even though I think he plays a lot back in coverage. I like him better than what we had last year just because of the adjustments. And I think that no matter how good you are in the first half, you win football games in the second half, clearly, because we lost there. If we were only playing at halftime, we'd be 0-3 right now. The Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the Bills beat us. And so the halftime adjustments are more important to me. And I think he's done a good job. As you elaborated to, when we talk about a complete game from the Eagles, right? We talk about the players saying it and performing, but it's been more. Dang, Sean Desai, you shutting down the Rams in the second half. Look what you did against the Dolphins. Look what you did against the Chiefs. Where's our offense at, right? And then when we are putting up points against other teams, where's our defense at? And I think our defense played pretty good against the Buffalo Bills. We held 92, 95 snaps. That was the second most in franchise history. So, yes, the Bills scored points in the the second half. But they had to be gassed. But to hold them to 17 with the amount of 3 and outs we gave them, the Bills had the ball for the whole first half.
Yeah.
And we held them to 17. I still kudos because a lot of people came at me. One of my videos was like, Josh Allen had 300 some yards. I said, look, the defense hung tough because of how they kept us in the game in the first half. I don't expect, Jordan Davis, who barely could play last year, to play. There was no Milton and Flesh. So Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Marlon T were the only D tackles there. Like, you're talking about 92 snaps with a small rotation. I think they did a pretty darn good job, and they stopped them when we needed to. The Bradbury pick was big, and so I think the defense has been clutch as much as the offense in big moments. I just need to see the consistency,
That's a good point right there. Like the big moments, they make the big plays in the big situations. They need a 3 and out, they get a 3 and out. Jalen needs to extend a drive, he extends a drive, and that kind of epitomizes how I feel about this team. Like every week, cardiac arrest, but they win. So I just don't it's hard to put into words. Like they're 10-1. I'm very confident about them, but I'm also very scared. Like, where do you sit with this team? Like all the national media, the Eagles, if they keep playing like this, it's going to catch up to them. But then again, the results are there. Like, do you think the Eagles are lucky to be where they're at? Do you think they are going to keep winning? Where's your mindset with that? And kind of what you asked me earlier, like if they get down in this game, do you think they're going to win this football game against the Niners? Very tough opponent.
Well, see, look, I don't think we're going to be able to have the same fortune of being able to be down against the Niners because they're a team that's not going to throw the ball in the second half where we can get back in off a scoop and score fumble, an interception, a big time sack. They're going to run the ball. So that second half, if we're down 10, you're not going to really have like 30 minutes, a full 30 minutes. It's going to seem a lot quicker because of them running the ball, clock keep going. So I don't think you could do that against the Niners. However, I don't think we're lucky because it's been multiple games. Like you don't get lucky for a season. You don't get lucky for a month of football, 3 weeks of football. You can say, did we get a little lucky on the MVS drop? Maybe, but we were put in that position to get lucky off the comeback nature of what this team provided through the third quarter, right? And most of the fourth. All that being said, the Eagles find themselves in like a weird situation, right? Because Colin Cowherd's talking about no blowouts, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, that's cool, right? The Washington Commanders, they're a trash team. We could have, should have, would have blown them out, played them 2 tough games. It is what it is. But guess what? After this so-called gauntlet that we haven't lost through, right? We got the Giants twice. You got the Cardinals. You got these teams that we can blow out and add to our blowout resume. And also, like I said, the tough part of our schedule is in the middle. We got a little weak piece at the end if we can hang tough with this. So I feel confident that by the time the games really, really matter, and every game in the NFL matters, especially with how tight Dallas and all that is. They played tonight, by the way. Let's all watch and root for Seattle. All that being said, I don't believe they're lucky. I don't believe you want to keep putting yourself in this position, right? Like Devontae Smith said, look, yeah, it's cool, building that character to come back, but cut that shit out. I want to win early, you know what I mean? And it's just them playing in the first half. But I think we're being dramatic because, again, the 2 real bad first halves came against the top 5 defense in the Chiefs and the top 5 defense in the Bills. I do believe we're going to look like the Dallas Cowboys in the last couple games of the season where they're beating the Panthers by 40 and the Giants by 40, right? But the thing that we're not going to look like the Cowboys is when we play good teams, we win by 3. Mm-hmm. By 3. Being a good team by 3 is good because you're both good teams. Really, coming into these games, I wouldn't have been mad if you said it's like a 50-50 chance between the Bills, a 50-50 chance against the Chiefs. They're both good teams, and we beat them. I think we're going to be exactly where we need to be come playoff time, and so I'm not worried. Now, look, if you're telling me something that we never seen, if we beat the Cardinals by 2 and beat the Giants by 2 as well, then I'm nervous because, like you said, eventually it might just fall the other way. And it might do that on the most crucial time, a playoff game, right? So I'll feel more confident, and I believe it's going to happen is we're going to, find ways to win through these hard schedule games, but blow out the teams that we're supposed to. And again, when you get to the playoffs, you're not going to see the Giants. You're not going to see the Panthers. You're not going to see the Cardinals. So the teams that are getting glorified off them wins, good luck, because you're going to see the Niners and the Eagles and the Cowboys and the, Lions and the Seahawks and the over 500 teams. And so as long as we keep winning, I'm good. But I just want to see more urgency, to be honest. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see them play a full football game and just dominate an opponent. But I'm kind of on your side. I think you don't want to do it every week. You don't want to go down to the wire every game, especially against these teams later in the season. You want to be playing your best football week 17, get a healthy bye. We saw how important that was, and just be on the ball rolling. But I think the difference is that they went to the Super Bowl last year, and not that they had any close calls leading up to that journey, but they understand the moment. It's like nobody's really satisfied on this team. Jalen isn't focused on a regular season game. And that's why even this game this weekend, if the Eagles lose to the Niners, I still think they can come back and beat them in the playoffs. I don't think this game is like
that makes the Cowboys game. That makes the Cowboys game. If the Cowboys would win and we would lose, that makes the Cowboys game like driver's seat-ish for that number one spot you're talking about. Although the Cowboys then schedule gets hard and ours gets easier. But that's why I think this Niner game, like, you can't overlook it, and you got to be serious, because what's going to be written on the whole week. If we will lose, is the Eagles could go from first to like third in a matter of weeks. All that national stuff.
That's what I was going to say. Like, the biggest part is going to be the letdown from the media and how, the Eagles are not legit and they got lucky in these other games. That's really what the biggest thing will be for me. But whether they win or lose, I still think this Eagles team has the talent to go all the way, but they also have to be put in the best positions coaching wise in the first half of games. They don't want to go down in a playoff game 17-7, with a big deficit going into the third quarter. Like, it's going to be tough, man, but they need to iron some things out. I think this is a statement game, though, in terms of, like, you win this game, you've gone through everybody. At that point, who's beating the Eagles? If they win this game, I'm not picking them to lose again. The Dallas game is a pick 'em because it's in Dallas. They usually split, but Eagles are better than Dallas. Do you believe in Dallas? Do you think they're legit? They win at home. They don't lose at home. And then, they also haven't beat teams with winning records. So
I think they do got a good defense. I think their defense is legit. I think that their offense has been able to beat up on some easy teams and also reap benefits of that good defense and short field and all that. But I always believe when push come to shove, Dak Prescott's going to do something that Dak Prescott does. Cowboys are going to do something that they always do. And so until they prove me otherwise, what can go wrong will go wrong, as Stephen A. Smith always says. But I look at it like, I agree with you. Any team in the NFC, I'm taking the Eagles. The Eagles are better than any team, can be any team, but this is the one thing about the NFL that's way different than the NBA and the MLB and NHL, right? The better team normally wins. Why? Because you can have that letdown in game one. Oh, I was shooting bad. It just wasn't my day. And guess what? Because you're better than that team, you go out there and dominate them 3 straight games, 4 straight games, and win, 4-1, right? Gentleman sweep. But in the NFL, if it's not your day that one time,
any given Sunday.
So, like you said, playing it close to the wire and playing with your food in the regular season, we lost to the Jets. But guess what? We're still the best team in football, and it don't matter. But you can't allow that to happen in the playoffs. So I'm with you on that. I'm with you about playing your best football. And the Cowboys look good statistically, but it's the Cowboys. Cowboys.
Yeah, I also think Lane Johnson being back will be huge. Like, the Eagles need to be as healthy as possible going on this run. I'm not mad that Lane missed the game against Buffalo in a regular season. They got to be ready to go. After that bye week, I think it'll be huge. They need to be locked in, man, especially going forward.
Yeah, the bye week would be huge going forward for sure. And look, if Dallas Goedert plays against the Niners, I doubt it. But if he did, cool. But really, look, I was okay with it. Like you said, Lane missing against the Bills for the simple fact that, every game is important, but this Niners game is more important than the Bills due to conference and blah, blah, blah wise. And again, you're not really going to you can still make a push, but Lane, Goddard, these guys are important to be healthy by week 17. So if you got to miss a game due to not just maintenance, this ain't no NBA where we talk about what was that called, load management. But if you got a little nick and you need to sit out, it is what it is. This team has next man up mentality. And speaking of next man up, he's not on the team right now, but maybe we get a next man up tight end, let Dallas rest a little bit more.
No, yeah, we're definitely about to get into that. First off, I want to shout out to everybody in here, man. If you guys are in a YouTube chat, drop a like on the stream, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, YouTube doesn't want to see A to Z Philly win right now. Same thing happened to Philly Mike before, man. It's tough. It's tough, man. But shout out to everybody in here. If you're in the Facebook stream, share it around. Give me some comments in the chat, and I'll leave the floor to you. Player of the game prediction. Who do you think is going to be a player of the game, and what's their stat line?
Offensively, of course, right? We're talking about.
I'll leave it up to you.
Okay, player of the game, defensively, offensively.
In general,
in general, it's hard for me not to say Hassan Reddick. I just think that he's been waiting for this more than anybody on this roster. I think that, yeah, and now it would be smart for them to game plan for him, right? Chip him, double team him. Don't put a backup tight end on him, but you could do whatever y'all want. You know what I mean? But I just see him coming into this game with it meaning a lot to him. I'm very interested to see who's going to win on that wide receiver battle, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, because it's a pick your poison. Tre'Davious Ward is playing good, but he can only guard one of them. So I'm interested to hear what you got to say on them, but I'm going to go, if I had to go player of the game, I think Hassan can blow this thing open, sack, fumble, something huge that just demoralizes Purdy again. And then he's really, I don't want to see him hurt, and I'm not calling for it. If it happens, it's just, it's just the football gods. I don't want to see him hurt, though, but I do want to see him take a sack from Hassan, and then I want to see him play not like Brocky, right? Like he was going to save the day. I want to see him. Oh, next he's throwing the ball away, throwing it out of bounds. He's a little shook. It gets cold in the link around this time. Shoulders start to stiff up and everything. You know what I mean? So I got Hassan Reddick.
It's gonna be cold and nasty again, man. It's the weather.
2.5 sacks.
2.5. Okay. I'm not gonna pick the obvious one of Jalen, even though my easy bet of the week. Anytime touchdown, Jalen Hurts. The guy scores every week. The brotherly shove, you can't stop it. It's literally automatic.
First and 9.
I got 2. Actually, I got 3, but I'm going to go my top 2. My underrated pick is James Bradberry. They've been talking all smack on James all week. They talked to him in the locker room. He was like, yeah, I wish they wouldn't be saying that stuff about me. And, obviously the whole the Super Bowl thing pissed James Bradberry off, but the week before, like, these Niners just don't stop. They don't give any credit, and they try to take it all away, and they're calling him trash. And he's just been in these big moments, and I just feel like Bradberry is going to have maybe a pick. Maybe he picks off Brock Purdy, but my other one, it was going to be A.J. Brown, because I think he's been a little quieter the last couple games, and A.J.'s made for games like this. Like, I could see A.J. going for $130, 2 touchdowns. He's just unstoppable. To me, he's the best receiver in the league. Some may not agree, but I think A.J.'s better than anybody on the opposing sideline, and I think he lives up to the moment in these types of games. I think he's going to be huge.
Yeah, and again, I'm curious to see, what Tre'Davious Ward does. Are they going to let him shadow A.J.? Is he going to stay to the left and, play Devontae and A.J. a mixture? But although he's really good, their secondary is good with Mufanga and all that, right? I just think that, one-on-one, I'm always going to choose my guy over anybody on the field. There's no defensive player, and kudos, there's some great ones out there. So I'm always going to choose my guy. And it's been Smitty, 99 yards against the Chiefs, 100+ yards against the Bills. Every single time AJ's went quiet for this long, as you said, it hasn't been just a game. It's been a monster game. I think he was quiet a couple games before we played the Steelers last year, and he would get 3 tubs,
3 touchdowns,
something like that. So when you say a receiver getting 2 tubs, people might say, this guy's crazy. That's a super hot take. It's not with AJ. It's not. A 2-touchdown game is well within the realm of possibility. Like, I bet you don't even get that big of a payout to call it. Then you get somebody else doing it because AJ's proven to do that off us a couple quiet games. So I like that. Who was your third? You said you had.
Yeah. So my third one, I bet nobody said this in the chat. The most underrated guy last week, the best kicker in Eagles history, Jake Elliott. This man, like, how did he hit that, 59-yarder in the rain, the wind, bottom right? How? Like, what is he, 8 for 8 with 2 minutes left to go or in overtime to put the Eagles in the leader to win the game? 8 for 8. The guy is absolute money. Jake Elliott's going to be huge in this game.
Yo, you want to know another stat too? I had so much stuff talking about my video this morning. I forgot to put this graphic up and talk about it.
Perfect time, man.
Kay Adams talked about it on her show, right? 58 plus yard field goals, career stats. So 58 or more. These are some great kickers. Adam Vinatieri, in his long career, the dude played till he was like 90, right? He had gray hair and everything. The dude only attempted 2 field goals from 58 or more, and he's 0 for 2.
Really?
Consider one of the greatest. Sebastian Janikowski, the big leg dude who was a first-round pick or second-round pick or something from Oakland, Jonathan. Right? Yeah, to Oakland, but it was who was the coach, the guy who was just a coach for the wasn't Rudy? It the
Who are you talking about? Like recent or before?
No, the one who drafted Sebastian Janikowski. Wasn't it
Gruden?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. All right. He's 3 of 17. Okay. 3 of 17. Jeez. Justin Tucker, who's in the league right now that they call the GOAT kicker, is 3 of 13. Jake the Make is 4 for 4.
That's crazy.
4 for. He's never missed a 58 plus yard field goal in his life. Doesn't
make sense. He's the best kicker in Eagles history. Would you agree?
He about to be the best kicker in history. He's the beast.
What did he say? He said, I wasn't looking away. I was watching it because if I looked away, that would show fear. He's like, I knew he was making it. Everybody knows this guy's making it. Game on the line.
I still was nervous though. Not because of Jake, just because, like, look, low key, I know Jake is a beast, but the elements had me nervous.
Oh yeah,
I was over there holding my head, holding my hat, just because of the rain. Nothing against Jake, but that rain and it plays weird on the ball.
Yeah, he finds a way though, man. Every single time, can't doubt him. All right, so give me your score prediction then. Will the Eagles pull this out Sunday afternoon? Will the media be proven wrong again? Will the Eagles go to 11-1? Give us your predictions in the chat as well. Final score prediction.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm initially right off the Buffalo win, thinking about it. I thought we could get to the 30s. I'm gonna keep it in the 20s. I'm gonna go 20. I'm gonna go 27. 23, 27-23, 4-point victory. Oh, but and look, Niners are a team that you don't gotta blow. You just gotta beat, right? They're one of the best teams in the league. I got 27-23 birds. But the score is gonna look close at the end, but it's not gonna be one of them. It's gonna be like, okay, we're gonna be kneeing the ball down. It's going to be 27-23. Our offense is going to be on the field, and Jalen's going to be taking that victory knee.
Okay. I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to pick the Birds, but I think it's going to follow suit with the last 12 weeks of cardiac arrest. I think we're going down to the end of the game. I think Jalen's going to go on a fourth quarter touchdown drive. I think the Niners will answer, but I think Jake the Make is going to
put it on him again.
I'm putting it on him again, and I'm trusting him with 110% confidence. I think the Eagles will get down in position, might try a stupid quarterback keeper with 20 seconds to try to get a couple more yards. I don't know why they did that last week, by the way. It made no sense. You had no timeouts, but I think they're going to set him up for a pretty fair field goal, maybe like 35, 40 yards, and I think he's going to nail it right down the middle. And I think the Eagles are going to talk their talk. I think the Niners.
What's the score going to be, though?
I think it's going to be higher scoring. I think it's probably
30s.
I think it's going to be 31-28. 31-28. I think the Eagles nail the field goal with no time left, and they win it in the cold and the rain and the wind or whatever else is going on at that point. And I think the Eagles walk off victorious. Jake Elliott getting carried off on the shoulders.
So easy to carry him. He's so little.
Honestly, he's crazy, man. Let's see. We got a couple Eagle fans in the chat. A lot of people are saying Eagle blowout. You think there's a chance for a blowout? Like the Eagles just come out, NFC championship rematch, and they just blow the brakes off this team?
Because of the last 3 weeks, because of the, going into halftime trailing against Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo, this could be the one game where everybody's expecting that let's fight strong in the second. Like this could be the 4 quarters play. Like, look, and then like everybody's coming into Monday morning like, yo, they blew out the Niners. Like, what was the talk when the Niners blew out the Cowboys? Like, dang, Niners are unstoppable. So I wouldn't put it past my birds, right? As soon as we start getting used to this cardiac arrest, like I've been getting extra blood pressure medicine and everything, now they're going to keep it easy on us. But I'm going 27-23 with a still comfortable victory. And look, Jake the Make would have had the same amount of yard distance that you just said, about a 35-ish yard, if we didn't get the 2 false starts as well. So, like, I could see another walk-off. And again, I quote tweeted that whole Colin thing again. I keep saying it this video, right? When he's like, oh, they only keep beating. I said, listen, Colin, you're not supposed to win Super Bowls with your backup quarterback, and we did. And guess what? Best believe if we win the Super Bowl by 1 point, I promise you I won't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? So yeah. We keep with it close. We beat any great team by 1 point. Great team. Now it sucks when you beat like Commanders by 1, but you beat any great team, and every team in the playoff is good or great. Give me 1 point. It hurts watching it, but I get 6 days to recover, 7 days to recover, and talk my talk. 1 point is still 1 point.
Absolutely. And I think right there, that point is exactly why I'm happy at the fact they keep winning these games, right? Then if you get into a crucial playoff situation, you know what it takes to win that type of game. So I think they kind of get that mentality down. But yeah, I mean, a couple weeks ago, I was saying this team's winning, but they're playing ugly. Now I'm like, they just keep finding ways to win. So if they win, I don't care. Like, I'm just going to keep picking them to win.
And you're right. That's the word when you're doing that against the Commanders. You're starting to say, like, really? Overtime for the Commanders? But overtime for the Bills? Cool.
Yeah.
Overtime for the Chiefs? Cool.
Yeah.
Who said we were going to lose?
Yeah. Who said it was going to be easy? At the beginning of the year, we were like, this is the toughest schedule ever. And they got the gauntlet in November and December. I mean, they just keep finding ways, man. And they still haven't played at their peak yet, which is scary. I mean, if they do connect it, like, these other teams are going to be looking like, uh-oh.
And I wouldn't mind saving that peak play for some teams that need it in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Get into a groove against the Giants, who stink, by the way. The Cardinals, oh, man. I mean, it's going to be – I'm hoping they get to that last week and they don't even have to play anybody. Why not do 2 weeks of rest? Yeah. I mean, I know you don't want to get out of rhythm, but, like, get their bodies ready for this.
But, like, you're right. Look, if Dallas ends up, fumbling the bag against Seattle tonight, or we beat the Niners and we do what we got to do, right? Like, we could be going into this as you only won by 2 or 3 against some of the greatest teams. Cool. But we can go into this game blowing out the Cardinals, blowing out the Giants, sitting against the second time we played the Giants, and feeling real good about this team, rested up. And the last 3 weeks we saw them, they put up 50 burgers or 40 burgers, right? Like, that could be the mindset. Tough against the Chiefs, tough against Dallas the first time, tough against the Bills. But the last 3 weeks, the Eagles score 40 plus each game. They get an extra, they get two bye weeks, week 17 and the first week of the playoffs. Dallas loses in the wild card round, and we see the Niners again.
Let's run it back, man. Let's run it back. Like I said, this game is an end-all be-all for me, but I do think there's a realistic possibility these teams line up again in the championship game. It's been a weird year in the NFL. I don't feel like there's
How you feel about the Lions?
Frauds.
Frauds?
I picked up Goff on my fantasy team. Man, he's been letting me down. I had
Oh,
Kirk.
so you jinxed him because he was doing good at the beginning. Yeah.
As soon as I picked him up, he starts going downhill, man. For me, the Lions just don't have a philosophy that can win playoff games. Like if they get behind, they're kind of done. Goff can't throw a deep ball, so I'm concerned about them in the playoffs. They're gonna have to win a very tight game.
I'm not really worried about the teams that like even the Dolphins. Sometimes they're too style pointish, right? Like ooh and ah, but they don't got that it factor to win. And so I'm with you. I still think like I think the Cowboys have good. Cowboys will mess up when they're given the opportunity, so that's what keeps them fully away. But me looking at how the NFC conference looks now, right now, like I said, it's Eagles, Niners, and Cowboys. They're the top three in that same order.
Yeah.
And you got the Lions and whatnot. But I do think it's destiny that we're playing against the Niners again. And as long as we're playing them in Philly, they gonna keep feeling it.
They better keep feeling the pressure, man. Last thing I want to get to, and again, shout out to everybody in here. Appreciate you guys coming through. Ton of people in the chat. Keep on dropping those comments. And once again, shout out to Philly Mike for popping through with us. But Zack Ertz, today he was released or waived by the Cardinals. He was granted his wish, I guess. I mean, another trade that Howie wins. This guy wins every single trade. But he shipped off Ertz a couple years ago. The Cardinals have went downhill over time. And Ertz says, this team stinks. I mean, you get Gannon back as your coach. He's like, I'm done. Get me out of here. Zack Ertz is, I guess, going to be a free agent. And people are already chatting about the Eagles. What are your thoughts? Should the Eagles be interested in 33-year-old Zack Ertz? And should Howie make the call and make it happen?
He has to clear waivers first. If you would get him before he clears waivers, then you would have to pay him like his 2.5 or something. So I think the only worry is the Ravens. There's been real reports coming out ASAP that they could look into him. Right, they're a little banged up and they're a potential contender in the AFC. But if given the opportunity to put this man back on the roster, I say you have to do it, just because the fact that it could let Dallas Goedert rest a little bit more. Because the last time he played on our team, or one of the last times he played on our team, we finished at the finish line. You know what I mean? And am I looking at him to be the playmaker? No, we got AJ, Devontae, and Goddard. But I'm telling you, he's that type of dude that AJ might be having 112 yards. Devontae has like 89 yards, and Zack Ertz has 0 catches, 0 targets. But here it is, 3rd and 8, 4th quarter, and he just catches that ball that changes the game. And that's really all you would sign him for, is that 1 or 2 plays from here to the finish line that just only Zack Ertz can do. No yards after the catch, but we get the big first down or a touchdown. You know what I mean? So, yes, I would do it. It gives Dallas Goedert some more time to heal. If anything else has arrived, because, look, I love Goddard, but he be getting nicked up a little bit more than I like. You know what I mean? He missed games last year, missed games this year, and there's still more to the year. So, I like Jack Stahl. I like, Alberto, but yes. And come on, you got to get the hometown discount at 33.
Yeah. Bring that familiarity back. That's why I'm also wondering, too, obviously, if he clears waivers, I think Zack Ertz would want to be back in Philadelphia. The report said he wants to play for a contender. Eagles are lining up to be the best team in the NFL. Talk about the crazy dynamic of Goddard was his backup. Now he comes back, you do a 180. Now he's the backup. But like you said, man, he's the one of the cornerstones of the franchise. The best season in history, the Super Bowl champion. And by the way, probably made the biggest catch of the game. Maybe 2 biggest catches of that game. We never saw him as a yak guy, but damn it, he has sure hands, man. He makes the big play when it's needed. He went through the ups and the downs. I mean, he set records. He loves Philadelphia, man. I don't think he ever wanted to get traded. And I think he wants to be back in Philly. And I would not be surprised if tomorrow, breaking news, Zack Ertz back in Philadelphia.
Yeah, dude cried. Dude was crying when he eventually left. And I respect that. And so, yes, sign me up. Look, we're getting Julio Jones for that veteran leadership / make one or 2 plays / this. Well, Zack Ertz is that plus more, you know what I mean, for this city, for this team. And again, I'm not saying, for everybody, I didn't make a video about it yet, because as soon as I got home, I did this and whatnot. But I put the community post up and they're like, we need a linebacker. I'm like, I know. I'm not saying forget Zach Cunningham. I mean, Shaq Leonard. I'm saying in addition to, right? Because they're both not going to cost that much money. Like, I don't think, that might be one reason why he's leaning towards Dallas, because they might be willing to offer him more and blah, blah, blah. But Zack Ertz is penny on a dollar. So don't worry about, roster space. And look, cut one of them special teamers and let him play. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, man. He's got 187 yards on the year, 1 touchdown. Just coming back, getting away from that atrocious situation in Arizona. Like, I would expect a spark right away. I could even see them going to him 3 times in the first couple drives. Like, just get him in a rhythm, just to be like a spark to be back in Philadelphia. But what I will say is, I think it's a guarantee. If you can do it, why not? Until Goddard comes back, like you said, give him more time to rest. And he's just got a lot more familiarity. But in terms of Shaq Leonard, I think Leonard could either become loved or maybe the most hated in Philadelphia in the next couple of days. If he goes to the Cowboys and he chooses them over Philadelphia, there's an easy, wide open spot right now to get some playing time, to get some snaps. I mean, come on now. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, how many people came to us on 1-year deals and then got paid again, right? Yeah. Bradbury was supposed to be washed. He inked out a big contract with the Eagles, right? TJ Edwards left here, got a pretty darn good contract for the Bears. Look at Marcus Epps' contract. Kazir White, like, you could. CJ Gardner-Johnson made the most he's ever made, even though he got ripped off and whatnot. At the end of the day, coming to the Eagles, playing 1 year is going to benefit you in the future, right? And it also, you're going to get more play. Now, I think he'll play a lot over there in Dallas too, but he's the man in the middle in Philly. Right off the gate until Cunningham comes back and whatnot. The only reason I'm saying he's leaning toward Dallas is because I dropped the video this morning because one of my boys on Twitter inboxed me on 103.5 The Fan. They had Brian Baldinger on, and they straight asked him and were like, "So, which do from all your sources, do you have a feel on which way he's leaning?" He's like, "He's leaning to the Cowboys," and I'm like, "You got to be kidding me!" But the thing is this. He's been in both facilities in the last 48 hours, 72 hours. However, but either he's going to play the Eagles as a Cowboy or play the Cowboys as an Eagle, because he just been in their facilities. He's going to make a decision this weekend, supposedly, and then the following weekend they play each other. So he's either going to be in Dallas for a couple months or he's going to be in Dallas for a week with the Eagles, but he'll be in Dallas.
I'll tell you which one I'd prefer. But, I mean, I thought that was weird, though. Like, I thought the fact he was going to Dallas first, I was like, okay, he's not leaving Dallas without a contract. Then he comes to Philly, and I'm like, all right, he's not going to leave Philly without a contract. And it's like, oh, I got to take the weekend to think about it. I don't know, man. Time's a ticking.
A lot of people in my comment section was like, bro, nah, it's no thing. You either a bird or not a bird. And you ain't going to weigh your options, especially right now. Like, if he's signed now, not saying he would be an impact player, but he could get a couple snaps in the Niners game, probably, a 4:00 game. Like when Kevin Byard came here, Kevin Byard came here on like a Tuesday or Wednesday and played in that game. Yeah, maybe not a lot, and wasn't great, but right now we need bodies. We're down to Christian Ellis and Nicholas Morrow. We just signed Ben Van Sumeren, the undrafted rookie free agent linebacker.
Getting desperate, man.
If Nicholas Morrow or Christian Ellis gets nicked up, you got Ben Van Sumeren trying to guard Christian McCaffrey on a Texas route. Talk about Texas toast.
It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough, man.
So,
oh man, I don't know. I'm surprised that Morrow and Cunningham have played as well as they have. But then again, I look at the last couple of years. Like, I didn't even know TJ Edwards is leading the league in tackles right now. Like, this team makes guys, and I guess it's just a product of the system, but these guys have stepped in big time. And I think, like Leonard might not be perfect from the jump, but like you said, he's going to be better than a Ben Van Sumeren or Christian Ellis in a big game. And plus he's got familiarity with Sirianni. I mean, he knows as well. So
I was kind of mad that Sirianni did say, he was like, I told him straight up, take your time, make the best decisions for you. Hell no.
Yeah. Nah.
There's no take your time.
Yeah. Get him in here, man. Crazy. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be an interesting weekend. One thing is for sure, come Sunday evening, there's going to be a lot of smack talk. It's either going to be pump out your chest or take a little step off the high horse and come back down to reality on Monday morning. It's going to be rough. I mean, it's either going to be really rough or really, really out there,
Because of the run we're on, because of who we are, because of the success we had the last 2 years and our quarterback and our cocky head coach. And, a lot of people don't like us. Like, you either are us or you don't like us. You know what I mean? You got the villain head coach to the national media and everybody and blah, blah, blah. He's yelling at Chiefs fans. I love Nick Sirianni. And again, we got to win. We talk our talk, but we do walk the walk better than any other team. So like you said, I'm not making excuses. We lose. It's not the end all be all. Their injuries are for real, but I will not come out here and say we only lost because of injuries or this out there. No, I'm going to take it on the chin. But man,
it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting.
This is the top. This is the top of the gauntlet. Like,
they've had this game circled for months.
This is Shao Kahn, a Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean?
As soon as the schedule came out, they circled this one. They were like, whatever it is against the Niners. Like Niners. Like, we play the Chiefs, we play the Bills. We get back to that Niners game. I mean, they didn't give any credit. They made all excuses. Here you go. You got a showdown. So we will see how it goes, man. I respect the Niners. I think they're a very good team, but I think the Eagles are better, and we'll see if the better team wins on Sunday. But I want to thank you for coming on the show again. This was awesome. A ton of people still in the chat. Do me a favor, man. Hit that like button and subscribe. And if you're on here or on the Facebook page, go subscribe to Philly Mike on the Philly Talk podcast. Let them know where else they can find you, like on socials and all that.
Yeah, so it's right there at Philly_Mike25 on Twitter. That's where you get a little bit more reckless talk, especially to opponents. And I didn't realize how bad some of these Niners Twitter people be, but it's all fun and games at the end of the day. And again, on YouTube, Philly Mike, Philly Talk podcast, we'll be here, win or lose.
We'll figure it out, man. Once again, shout out to everybody, A to Z Sports Philly, and hope you guys have a great weekend and big game of the year on Sunday. Let's hope the Birds win, and let's hope the Cowboys go down tonight. That make it a little bit easier.
Yes.
You guys have a great one. Catch you on the next one. Peace.